Have you ever noticed how bees build their hives? They are masters of architecture, constructing intricate honeycomb cities on almost any surface imaginable. Trees, rocks, walls, even the side of an old abandoned car. They are relentless, driven by an ancient instinct to expand and protect their colony. But there's a strange exception to this rule, a phenomenon observed for centuries by beekeepers, monks, and mystics. A behavior so consistent and so bizarre it defies easy explanation. Bees will build their honeycomb everywhere except on sacred images. Imagine this. A beekeeper places a simple plain piece of wood inside a hive. Within days or weeks, the bees will have completely covered it in a perfect hexagonal tapestry of wax and honey. They see it as nothing more than a surface, a foundation for their home. Now imagine the same beekeeper takes an identical piece of wood, but this time carves or paints the face of a saint onto it. When this piece is placed in the hive, something extraordinary happens. The bees build all around it. They construct their honeycomb right up to the edge of the image, but leave the face itself perfectly untouched. It's as if they are drawing a boundary, an invisible line that they refuse to cross. This isn't a one-time fluke or a quirky local legend. This pattern has been documented time and time again across different cultures and continents. In the quiet courtyards of Orthodox monasteries in Greece, where monks have kept bees for generations, they've seen it. On wooden crosses, icons of the Virgin Mary, and images of Christ, the bees will meticulously build around the sacred figures, leaving them clean and visible. It's a silent act of reverence from one of nature's most industrious creatures. The phenomenon isn't limited to ancient monasteries. It's been observed in remote villages in Eastern Europe where folk traditions and beekeeping are deeply intertwined. It's even been reported in modern apiaries by contemporary beekeepers who stumbled upon this strange behavior by accident. They place a frame with a decorative cross or a religious symbol into a hive and find that the bees treat it differently from every other frame. They leave a perfect outline, a clean space in the middle of their bustling, waxen city. So what is going on here? Why would a colony of insects care about human religious symbols? Science as of today doesn't have a definitive answer. There are theories, of course. Some suggest it might have to do with the paint or materials used on the icons. Perhaps certain chemicals or pigments repel the bees. But this theory starts to fall apart when you consider that the same thing happens with unpainted carved wood. A simple carving of a face into a piece of wood can trigger the same response. Another theory points to the visual pattern. Bees are highly visual creatures. Their world is one of shapes, colors, and patterns that we can barely comprehend. Perhaps the complex geometry of a human face or the specific lines of a cross disrupt their building instincts. Maybe their brains are wired to avoid building on surfaces with such intricate and unfamiliar patterns. It's plausible. Bees are known to react to shapes. For example, they can be trained to associate certain shapes with a sugar reward. But does the shape of a face or a cross trigger a specific do not build command in their tiny brains? And why only these specific shapes? They have no problem covering other complex patterns found in nature. This is where the explanations start to move from the purely scientific into the realm of the spiritual and the mysterious. For centuries, people who have witnessed this firsthand have not seen it as a biological quirk. They see it as an act of respect. They believe that bees in their own way recognize the sanctity of these images, that these tiny creatures possess a form of awareness or sensitivity that allows them to sense something special, something holy. In many ancient traditions, bees were considered sacred messengers. The Greeks believed they were messengers of the gods. In some Christian legends, bees were said to have been created from the tears of Christ. They were seen as pure, industrious, and connected to a divine order. From this perspective, their refusal to cover a holy image isn't a mystery, it's a confirmation of their special status. It's a living testament to their connection with the divine. Think about the implications of that for a moment. What if these creatures operating on instinct and biology alone are tuned into a frequency that we humans have forgotten how to hear? We build great cathedrals, we write volumes of theology, we engage in complex rituals to feel closer to the sacred. And all the while, these tiny insects might be living in a world where that connection is as natural as building a honeycomb. They don't need faith or doctrine, they just know. This idea that bees sense something humans can't is a powerful one. It taps into a deep-seated human longing for a world that is more than just matter and energy, a world filled with meaning and wonder. The image of a bee colony painstakingly avoiding a religious icon forces us to question our own perception of reality. Are we the only intelligent, conscious beings on this planet? Or are there other forms of intelligence, other forms of awareness that we simply don't have the tools to measure or understand? The psychological hook of this phenomenon is undeniable. It's the contrast. On one hand, you have the bees, creatures we often dismiss as simple insects driven by primal urges. On the other hand, you have the most profound symbols of human faith, things that billions of people have lived and died for, and right there at the intersection of the natural and the spiritual, you have this strange, silent boundary. A perfect, clean outline drawn by tiny creatures around things we call holy. It's a living paradox. A creature of pure nature refusing to cover what billions of people worship as supernatural. It forces you to wonder, do they know something we forgot? Is there a memory, an ancient wisdom, encoded in their DNA that recognizes the sacred? Or is it just a strange coincidence, a fluke of biology and visual perception? There are stories from beekeepers who have tried to test this phenomenon. One account tells of a man who placed two identical wooden plaques in his hive. One was blank, the other had a simple cross carved into it. The bees covered the blank one completely. The one with the cross was left with the cross shape perfectly exposed, surrounded by honeycomb. He then tried other symbols, a circle, a square. The bees covered them without hesitation. Only the religious symbols seemed to trigger this specific avoidance behavior. Another story from a monastery describes how the monks once found a swarm of bees had built their hive inside a chapel. They had constructed their honeycomb on the walls, the ceiling, even on the pews. But the large icon of Christ behind the altar was completely untouched. Nabisi had built a massive, intricate structure all around it, but not a single cell was built on the image itself. For the monks, this was not a scientific curiosity. It was a miracle, a sign of God's presence in all of creation. Whether you see it as a miracle, a biological anomaly, or something in between, you can't deny the power of the image. A bustling city of life and work coming to a sudden halt at the edge of a painted face. A community of thousands of individuals all working in perfect harmony to respect a boundary that no one taught them to see. It's this lack of teaching that is perhaps the most profound part of the mystery. Humans teach their children about religion, about what is sacred and what is not. We pass down our beliefs through stories, texts, and rituals. But no one teaches a bee. They emerge from their hexagonal cradles, and they just know. They know how to build, they know how to find nectar, they know how to communicate through dance. And perhaps they just know what to leave untouched. For over 1,000 years, bees have been leaving these silent signatures around the faces we pray to. In the quiet corners of the world, far from our noisy debates about science and religion, these tiny creatures have been carrying on their own silent tradition, a tradition of building around the sacred, of leaving a space for the holy. No one taught them. They just know. What can we learn from this? Maybe it's a lesson in humility, a reminder that we don't have all the answers, that the universe is filled with mysteries that our current tools and paradigms can't explain. Maybe it's an invitation to look at the natural world with a renewed sense of wonder, to see that even the smallest creatures can hold profound secrets. Or maybe it's just a beautiful, strange story, a testament to the endless complexity and strangeness of life on this planet. The next time you see a bee buzzing from flower to flower, remember this story. Remember the silent architects who draw invisible lines around our gods, and ask yourself, what do they know that we don't? What secrets are hidden in their tiny buzzing dance? The answer is still out there waiting to be discovered, written in wax and honey in the heart of the hive. Thanks for watching. If this story made you think, don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the unexplained.